Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. It's a Wednesday, February the 15th to be exact, and I just saw a movie. I don't typically see movies on Wednesday, but this movie had a one-day release. That's it. It was out today. I have a feeling that we might see it show up in theaters more. I think this movie's going to make a little bit of money. I think it's you could say it's an IP grab, and I think the IP that's being utilized here will definitely draw an audience. My theater was like half full tonight, which I was not expecting for this movie whatsoever. That being said, while this movie is not going to work for everyone and probably not a lot of people, there's definitely a group of people that this movie will work for, and I am one of those people. What am I talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We are getting ready to dive in, spoiler-free, into Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Yes, that's right. If my TV will turn on, you'll see right up there. I went and saw Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And for those that are unaware, writer-director Rhys Frake-Waterfield, I think I got that right, Rhys Frake-Waterfield, he's planning a little horror movie universe with some beloved family-friendly children's characters. And this movie, and I would assume any other movie that comes from Frake-Waterfield, will not be family-friendly. However, if you're okay with someone playing with your toys in a way that they necessarily weren't meant to be played with, I can understand why you might just be turned off by this movie right away. I mean, turning Winnie the Pooh and Piglet into these horrifying, monstrous versions of themselves that are just going out there and killing a bunch of college-aged people. Look, I get it. I totally get it. And for those people, you probably won't want to hear what I have to say. However, if you can be open to having fun with things in a way that they maybe traditionally weren't meant to be played with, and if you are a horror slasher fan, to be specific, I think you could go out and really have a good time. My theater definitely enjoyed this. People were laughing. They were clapping. I mean, the theater clapped at the end of the movie. I mean, this was a lot more fun than I had expected. I had very, very low expectations. I said to my buddy Joe, who I went and saw this with, I was like, look, there's one thing I need from this movie, or a couple things. I just needed to have a simple plot that makes sense so I can be like, okay, cool, that's why we're here. I need some really at least interesting or unique or kind of crazy kills from these two. And I just want to be able to like get in and out. Well, this movie is an hour and 20 minutes long. It features some absolutely insane kills. And the plot's really, really simple. Christopher Robin leaves for college. And when he does, Pooh and his friends got to figure out how to fend for themselves. And things get dark pretty quickly. And essentially they kind of just like make a pact to no longer speak, return to their animalistic nature, and they just kind of have a hatred for humans because of what Christopher Robin did to them. That's a great motivating factor for these two characters, and that's all you need to know. Then you get a group of about 5 college-aged girls. There's a 6th one that I think shows up late. That rent a cabin in the woods, and the woods happen to be the 100-acre woods. So when they stumble upon Pooh Bear and Piglet, they're down to freaking kill some people. That's the setup, man. It's a simple plot. It's exactly what you expect it to be, except it wasn't what I expected it to be. Right? Like, this movie does things that I didn't expect it to do, and there were moments where I was like, I'll be damned. Like, there's for a lower budgeted indie horror movie, there must have been a little bit of budget in here, because there's some visual effects stuff around some of the kill sequences where I was like, hot damn, man. Like, that was wildly impressive. I did not expect to see that in this movie. And there's one in particular, like, if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about the moment it happens. And I was like, if you can do this, you can do just about anything. Now, look, this movie is not perfect. Let's talk about the things that I didn't like in this movie. The acting is brutal. When it is not Winnie the Pooh or Piglet, who for me are like the two standouts in the movie. Craig David Dowsett, who is Pooh Bear, Chris Cordell, who's Piglet, I think they have all the winning moments in the movie. There's something that Piglet does several times toward the end, and every time he did, I howled out loud. I was just like, I was so here for it. And Pooh is a menacing lead villain, right? Like, I think they do a really good job, and when you watch them walking around, they really do capture that essence of, like, that crazed killer out in the woods. When it comes to the rest of the cast, specifically our lead group of girls, and then about, I'd say 3/4 of the way through the movie, there's like a group of men that show up. Everybody in the movie has a British accent. And the guy who does all the talking for the group of guys sounded like someone with a southern accent who was trying to purposely do a bad British accent. It was bad. But the acting from pretty much any human in this movie not named Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin was fine. Like, nothing impressive for me, but like served his purpose quite well. But everybody else, it's rough. I'm not going to lie to you, it is rough. However, I think the enjoyment and entertainment of what Pooh and Piglet are doing in the movie, if you're here for that kind of film, hits exactly what you're looking for. I mean, the kills are fun, the chases are fun, some of the sequences are just absurd and they lean into it. The use of blood and honey in the movie totally hit for me. But when you get outside of that, everything else about this movie is pretty fantastic. I mean, it is a very well put together film. I think Rhys Frake-Waterfield, like I said, has a pretty simple, basic script and plot line, but that's all you need for this kind of movie, right? Like, I'm always praising horror films as of late, and specifically indie horror films, for using the genre to tell really interesting stories. But every once in a while, you just need a good old-fashioned slasher flick where, like, you're coming to watch a bunch of people get killed by whoever your villain is. That's what this movie is, and it achieves what it's trying to do. And I think Frake-Waterfield builds a world that visually, I think, really pops. And like I said, he makes these two characters pretty terrifying. And when you look at the other people that are involved in the movie, I thought that Vince Knight, who's your cinematographer here, did a great job. I think this movie is really well shot. It's a little dark, and I don't know if that's purposeful to maybe not like get a crazy rating past R, because there's some pretty gory things in here that are kind of hard to see. But it is pretty dark. But outside of the lighting being a little off for me, I thought the shots that Knight gives you really worked consistently. And then the MVP of the movie, never in a million years did I expect this, but Andrew Scott Bell, who's our composer here, this is one of my favorite scores of the year so far. I mean, I haven't seen a ton of movies, but like this is the first score that like really stood out to me, where I was like, "Yo, that's your bar for the year, man." He did a phenomenal job, and the score really drives this thing. And like I said, the production value, I mean, like, while Pooh and Piglet kind of look wild, and they look like masks, the faces actually do move. And, like, Pooh is able to kind of elicit emotion. Sometimes he's smiling when he's doing some crazy stuff. Sometimes he's frowning. But, like, I thought the makeup really worked. Like I said, the honey and the blood and the usage of all that and what they did in the different sequences were really just like, it's a well-made movie. And those elements, plus the fact that I was really able to get behind Pooh and Piglet as killers, I had a fun time. This isn't a perfect movie, but I thought it was a super entertaining movie. All right, so I was editing, and I realized that I didn't really put this definitively, but the other thing that this movie is absolutely hysterical. Like I said, it leans into the absurdity, and there are lots of laugh-out-loud moments, whether it's things that Pooh and Piglet are doing, or just the absurdity, or downright brutalness of certain moments of the money. But that is one of the reasons that makes this thing so much fun. All right, let's see what the score is. So let's get the Sea Maniacs up, man. Like I said, there is some really brutal acting in this movie. The script isn't trying to do anything crazy. Like I said, this is just kind of your basic, slasher flick. But it's using a piece of IP that I think makes it worth a watch. And when you get into that world, while I'm drawn there because it's the idea of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet as killers, if you were to just make them regular masked killers, I think this movie still would have worked from from those pieces, right? And it's well shot, the score is fantastic, and it's in and out, man. Like, you're in and under 90 minutes. Like, you can get past bad acting, and in all honesty, Like, there's enough stuff going on action-wise where there's not like a ton of acting stretches where you're just like, this is like pulling teeth. It's just, it's not great. So I'm gonna go 2.5 out of 5. This isn't a phenomenal movie. Don't let my excitement, like cloud my judgment or what you're hearing. While I think this movie is a lot of fun, if you are willing to have fun with it, and I found it to be an entertaining slasher, it is pretty generic on a lot of levels, and like I said, the acting is brutal. But the score alone in this movie is worth a 2.5. So I'm going 2.5 out of 5 C-Maniacs. I think this is a solid, like, you want to go out and see a traditional slasher, have a good time at the movies. That's what you're going to be here with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. If you're down to ride in that kind of a world. And I will say that after seeing this, I'm here for a sequel. And I'm also here to see Rhys Frake-Waterfield do a Bambi and a Peter Pan version of this. And he's coined this. Well, he hasn't coined it, but he's giving this, like, he's trying to develop a shared universe. And there's a little something at the end of the movie that when it dropped, I was like, you know what? I appreciate somebody understanding the world that we live in. And if at any point that group of characters can come together for one movie, sign me up. Sign me up. I can't wait to see what the box office is for this Wednesday night. I will be interested to see if it gets more screenings, because I think it probably is going to do pretty well. It did a similar release in Mexico, made $1 million. I think this is going to make a couple million. Be interested to see if it comes back to the theaters. But if not, I'm definitely going to hop on it when it gets back to VOD. Maybe we'll do a watch along. If you're here for this kind of movie, it's fun. So I'm going to shut up, man. That's everything I got to say. It was a one-night event. I'm glad me and my buddy Joe went and saw it. I look forward to giving it a second watch, because we did miss the very, very beginning as we were walking in. But from what I was thinking going into this and how I felt coming out, I'd say this was a positive experience for me. So I enjoyed Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. The question is, what about you? Did you venture out to the theaters tonight? Like I said, my theater was like half full. It's kind of surprised me. So if you were out watching Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, what made you go to the theater? Was it the fact that it was that IP being used in a slasher film? Is it that you're just a horror junkie and you're like, I'm down to go watch this, similar to myself? And if you went and saw it, what'd you think? Did it work? Did you have fun? Were you able to lean into the absurdity? That's the thing. Like, anytime a movie can kind of know what its own absurdity is and it can play into that, I think it works. So did that work for you? If you haven't seen the movie, is this something that you're intrigued by, something you'll take a look at, or will you give, like a response to me like my friends where they're like, wait, did you say what I think you said? And are you sure you don't want to see the movie again, maybe in a clear state of mind, and then give us your thoughts? And I was like, yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Like, I would say the exact same thing. This is a fun movie. So let me know where you fall on this, whether you've seen it or not, what your thoughts are, good, bad, indifferent, on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Put it down below in the comments section. Look forward to talking to you guys down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer, reactions weekly right now. You got The Last of Us. You want to be here for that coverage. You want to see maybe if we do a watch of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey when it comes out, or, if we see how many more of these movies we get, and you just are like, I want to know what Corey's got to say about all of these things. If you've got, that going for you, you're feeling that way, you just enjoy the vibe of the old C-Man, you want to show a little love and support, well, hey, come join C-Maniac Nation, place where you can do all those things, and all you have to do is jump over there, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts, and until next time for the C-Man Cinema Sit Down, I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace. Oh, you guys are still here. You snuck up on me. You must be looking for more of this guy. Well, I got 2 video options for you, man. Right up here and right over here. And if you want all those C-Man goodies, well, hey, come join the squad right on over there, and I'll catch you on the next one.